Hello, my dear friends. It's wonderful to have you here today, sharing this moment together. I've been reflecting lately on how the words we speak, both to ourselves and to others, have such a profound impact on the connections we hold dear. And I suspect you've noticed it too. The older we get, the more meaningful those connections become, and yet sometimes they feel, fragile, don't they? Sometimes, without even realizing it, we say things in moments of exhaustion or discouragement that unintentionally push others away. These words may feel harmless at first, even honest, but over time, they can build invisible walls between us and the people we care about most. Today, I want to explore 7 of those phrases, expressions that often crop up after 70, and offer some loving alternatives that can help keep our conversations uplifting, our connections strong, and our hearts open. But before we dive in, let me assure you of something. This isn't about pretending everything's fine or glossing over how we feel. Life brings its challenges, and allowing space for those emotions is important. But it's also about becoming aware of the power of our words, how they shape not only how others see us, but how we see ourselves. Shall we begin? 1. I'm just a burden now. Oh, my friends, how heavy this phrase can be. I know it often comes from a place of quiet exhaustion or deep humility, but to the people who love you, it feels like a silent test, a cry they often don't know how to answer. When you say, "I'm just a burden now," what they hear is guilt, helplessness, and sometimes even rejection. They start to wonder, am I doing enough? Would they be better off without me? And slowly they might stop coming around, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to bridge the gap. Instead, think of how different it might feel to say something like, "I'm so grateful you make time for me," or "Your visits mean so much to me." Gratitude opens doors where despair closes them. Your loved ones are often trying to show you they care. Let those moments be what they are, gifts of love. It's not about pretending to feel something you don't, but about finding words that invite connection rather than deflect it. 2. No one understands me anymore. This phrase carries a quiet sadness, doesn't it? And I know. The world sometimes feels like it's spinning faster than we can follow. New gadgets, new slang, new ways of living. It's enough to make anyone feel out of place. But when you say, "No one understands me anymore," it can sound less like an observation and more like an accusation. Even if you don't mean it that way, it can leave others feeling like they've failed you, or that their efforts to connect don't matter. What if instead, we leaned into curiosity? The next time your grandkids start talking about a video game or some new social media app, maybe ask, "What do you enjoy about that?" Or, "Can you show me what that means?" You don't have to understand every detail to stay connected. You just have to stay open. And that openness has a way of inviting others to share more of themselves with you. 3. I've got nothing left to offer. This one breaks my heart whenever I hear it because it simply isn't true. Yes, perhaps you've retired or your children have grown or your roles have changed over the years, but nothing to offer? My dear friend, that couldn't be further from the truth. Your wisdom, your stories, your presence, these are gifts only you can give. Take the example of Elaine, an 81-year-old retired teacher who began stepping back from community life after her husband passed. She would refuse invitations by saying, "Oh, I've got nothing left to offer." But the truth was, her neighbors missed her warmth, her insight, her sense of humor. When she finally joined a local book club, her shy but thoughtful opinions breathed new life into their discussions. You see, showing up is often the greatest gift of all. If you've ever thought, "I've got nothing left to offer," try replacing it with something gentler like, "I may not have all my old energy, but I'd love to contribute where I can." Or, "I still care deeply, and I'm here." These small shifts remind both you and those around you that your presence matters. 4. I don't want to be a burden. This one sounds so noble, doesn't it? Many of us grew up with the belief that independence is a virtue, that asking for help makes us somehow less worthy. But what happens when we keep saying, "I don't want to be a burden," is that we start building walls. Walls that push people away without meaning to. Letting others help you isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of trust and love. A 2022 report from the National Institute on Aging found that close relationships, especially those built on reciprocity, are key to maintaining emotional and physical health in later years. So instead of saying, "I don't want to be a burden," you might try, "Thank you. I'd really appreciate that," or "It means a lot to me that you're here." These small adjustments keep the door to connection wide open. 5. It's too late for me. How often have we whispered this phrase to ourselves in moments of doubt? It's too late for me to start over, to try something new, to find joy. But let me tell you a story. Clarence, an 82-year-old widower, decided, to his own surprise, to write his first book after his wife passed. At first, he said, "What's the point? It's too late." But something nudged him forward, and that book became a gift, not just to his family, but to countless strangers who found inspiration in his words. The lesson here? It's rarely too late. Whether it's something as small as learning how to video call your grandkids or as big as taking up a new hobby, life still holds possibilities if you're willing to look. The next time you catch yourself saying, "It's too late for me," I encourage you to pause and ask instead, what's still possible? 6. No one needs me anymore. This phrase carries a particularly heavy kind of loneliness, doesn't it? It's the feeling of being invisible, of watching the world go on without you. But let's unpack that for a moment. Is it really true that no one needs you? Or is it that the ways you're needed have simply changed? Purpose after 70 often looks different from what it did in earlier years. Maybe you're no longer raising children or climbing a career ladder, but your presence, your stories, your wisdom, even your sense of humor can still be light in someone's life. A phone call to check in on a friend, a handwritten note to a grandchild, a recipe shared with a neighbor. These are not small acts. They're lifelines. 7. I'm too old to change. This, perhaps, is the greatest myth of aging. But here's the truth. As long as you're here, as long as you're breathing, it's never too late to grow, heal, or find joy. Studies from organizations like the AARP have shown that adaptability and the willingness to embrace change are key predictors of happiness and fulfillment in later years. It doesn't have to be something big. Even small shifts, like changing a phrase or reaching out to someone you've lost touch with, can make a world of difference. Final thoughts. As we grow older, the language we use begins to matter more. The way we speak to others, and especially the way we speak to ourselves. Words have the power to build bridges, to heal wounds, and to remind us of the beauty and purpose that still reside within us. My hope is that today's shared reflections inspire you to choose words that bring light into your days and into the lives of those you hold dear. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, which phrase resonated most with you, and how might you shift it going forward? Until next time, be gentle with yourself, my friend. You are deeply valued, always.